people like me. I'm so not in the mood to be broken and blue.
Podcasting from the Chicagoland area. This is Game On with Jackson Stuart, where we discuss men's lifestyle, focusing on sex, fitness, relationships, business, and more. We'll be interviewing the best of the best, the hot shots, and the rising stars in the worlds of modeling, fitness, cooking, and more. Influencers who are discussing keeping it sexy while at the top of their game. I'm your host, Jackson Stuart. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the game. Hey, good people, sexy people. Welcome to another episode of Game On with Jackson Stuart. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, where today we are going to be talking about the A game and what that means and why it's important. First and foremost, I always want to, plug some of our guests. So feel free to go through any of our previous episodes, and you can find just about all of our guests on Instagram. They're all doing some wildly exciting things and projects that are 100% worthwhile and worthy of your time. Want to point out, of course, Stormy Maya is launching her heavy metal rock album through her new band Cinnamon Babe, so check her out, Stormy Maya and Stormy Maya 2. That's STORMIMAYA. Tell her Jackson sent you. And also, of course, jackpotbeauties.com, which is the new venture for our very own favorite Ariana Gray. She was in Vegas last week. She had a hell of a run. Great shows and live streams. Go ahead and check her out on YouTube. And you can go to jackpotbeauties.com and tell her Jackson sent you. And it's a lot of fun. I know jack shit about slots and all that, but it's entertaining. She's very charismatic and a lot of fun to watch. So check her out. So in discussing the A game, what is it and why are we focusing on that now? Because that's going to be the new focus of a lot of the posts that you'll see coming from me on Instagram and Twitter. Before we talk about the A game, we got to talk about challenges. And, it's interesting to talk about challenges because a lot of times people think men don't face any challenges. And, that's bullshit because we're human. Every human being faces challenges. And I think it's sinister and deceptive to think, only women face challenges. And women do, don't get me wrong, but men do also. And the challenges that men come up against are both the keys to, the A game, but also the giant obstacles against the A game. So, in keeping with that, let's talk about some of the key challenges that men face. Number one, men face the challenge of confidence. And I feel like if, being kind, being upstanding, being honorable, these are all very important facets of manhood. But confidence, to me, is like one of the core aspects of what makes a man, that he's confident. Not arrogant, not a prick, not an asshole, not a dick, not something like that, but just confident, and he knows where he stands, who he is, what he can do, what he cannot. Those are important. Another key challenge is communication, specifically how a man interacts with someone that he's interested in. A woman, a man, if that's didn't mean to pause there. Woman or man, because this show is for everybody. I was trying to figure out the right way to say that, whether he be straight, gay, bi, whatever. We accept everybody. We love everybody. Everybody's a player. But it's guys are challenged. I don't care who you're into or what their gender is, but guys, I think a lot of us struggle with this perception that we're supposed to just be smooth. And when you approach somebody, and I'm going to say her, but I mean that interchangeably, when you approach her, you're supposed to know what to say and how to say it and how to ask her out. And to be, truth be told, we're not born with that. And I know so many guys that people think, oh, like that guy knows how to talk to women. He's got it down pat, and he's struggling on the inside. So confidence, communication, expectations, both inside and out. Men are challenged and struggle with what they think they should be able to do and what they feel inside they should be able to do. And that expectation is almost an umbrella statement of, our expectations for confidence, our expectation for communication. So that's a big challenge. Sexual health. Yes, ladies, your sexual health is extremely important and can all too often lead to life and death situations, whether it be ovarian cancer, struggles with pregnancy, hysterectomies. I mean, there's all kinds of issues that can pop up that threaten a woman's life due to her sexual health. Men also have sexual health issues that they need to look into, whether it be, prostate exams, because prostate cancer is a very real thing, but also things like erectile dysfunction, fertility. And there's a little bit of a pressure for a man to, a man is defined by his ability to get hard, to be erect, the length of his penis, how big his dick is. I mean, there's that phrase, right? Big dick energy. There's not a, big vagina energy out there. So, I mean, there's a lot of pressure and challenge that is surrounding a man in terms of his, virility and how potent and how, what his sexual stamina is like. Physicality is a challenge. What's a man built like? How strong is he? How muscular is he? How tall? It's not always just about the body dysmorphia that women face, but men face body dysmorphia also. Men face issues with, what they think they should look like or what people think they should look like. And, of course, financial. The challenges that a man faces in terms of money. How much should he earn? What should he be paying? Um, all of these challenges together all come together and make a man question what's his worth. And I think that question both can lead you to your A game, but can also threaten your A game and, to the idea that you never get to your best game. And having said that, your A game is literally the best you that you can be, that you can bring about. And think about, bring your A game. We've all heard that phrase, right? Your A game is like bring the best that you've got. Be on point. Be sharp. Be attentive. Have the right answers. Expect the unexpected. You go into a meeting. Somebody's like, "Hey man, get your A game on." They mean go in there and kill it, slay that thing. So that idea, excuse me, is no different. It's just here we're talking about the A game in all aspects of your life, and the A game in terms of focusing on these challenges that threaten your A game, which I'm going to say A game a lot, and how to tackle each one. And if you check me out on Instagram, Jackson Stuart 2. The links are all over the podcast, and you can follow me on Twitter at gameonwithjack. Also on Instagram, there's Game On with Jack. We're still populating that bad boy up. But we are talking about the A game right now. And that's going to be a series of posts that we focus on a lot going forward. So the A game is the best that you can bring to a situation, your best performance, your best you. But how do you get there? We're not all born with great A game. Some of us are more naturally inclined towards, other aspects where we do well. But, the A game it's all around us. It's part of us. So, you get it through a series of steps and actions to confront the issues and challenges that are in front of you. And we just talked about the issues, earlier. How they impact you as a man and how they impact you as a human being. Money, your body, your well-being, how you communicate with people, how you approach intimacy, and so on. So how do you use it? Because, people are like, well, shit, it sounds interesting, Jack, but how do you use your A game? Well, that's the thing. You don't get into a situation where you're like, oh, I better be using my A game. Jack gave me steps on X, Y, Z. Your A game becomes part of who you are. And so, like, as soon as you get up in the morning, your A game is on. And as you work on it, as you cultivate it, it's not even like an effort that you make. It becomes just who you are and how you handle situations. So it might seem like a lot of work to think like, all right, well, am I doing this the right way? How do I say this? But the more you practice it, the more it's just second nature. It's not a one-off. It's not a light switch. It's just a level of excellence that permeates everything you do, everywhere you go. It impacts everybody you interact with, no matter how big or how small of a meeting. And, that's really important because there's people that I know personally, and they're great at interacting with people who are above them, especially like at work or, in a business situation. And they communicate great with those people. And you would think, wow, that person has A game level communication. They can be funny, they can be interesting. But when you see them talk to people who, quote unquote, are beneath them, can't do shit for them, people who do the work nobody else wants to, whether it be the cleaning staff or the garbage people or whatever, they mistreat these people. They look down on them. Well, then you're not an A game level communicator. You're an asshole. An A game level communicator doesn't turn it on or off when it suits them. They communicate with everybody at an excellent level. So that's what I mean by it's just on. And there's people who I know who they could be talking to the CEO or the garbage man or the cleaning lady or the chef at a greasy spoon, and every person they talk to, when they walk away from that person, feels better because they got a chance to interact with them. That's an A-game level communicator. That's somebody you want to learn from. So you're thinking, well, shit, Jackson, that sounds great. I want to have A-game level excellence. But like, if I have to earn it, how did I lose it? If I have to work on building it, how did how did it slip through my fingers in the first place? And so here's a very important fact on how you lose A game. You don't lose A game externally. You lose it inside. You don't get I don't know if anybody listening has ever been in a fight, but you don't lose a fight because somebody hit you too hard. You lose a fight because you thought you couldn't win it. I know you might think that's bullshit, but I've been in fights, fist fights, and I've won all of them. I walked in there with the idea of winning. And I've competed, in martial arts and boxing, and I've won. Now, you're not going to see me going up against Mike Tyson or anything, but it's really an internal loss before it's an external loss. Or let's say, you go to ask somebody out and they turn you down. Well, does that mean that you didn't bring your A game when you went to communicate with the person? No. It was on their side that either they weren't interested or maybe they were with somebody or it just was a bad time. But that doesn't mean you didn't bring your A game. That just meant the timing just wasn't right. So the challenges I mentioned before, confidence, sexual health and well-being, financial, communication, etc. These things can get inside of you and erode you from the inside out, and that's how you lose your A game. There's a great quote. I've heard it from the Reverend and amazing speaker T.D. Jakes. And I'm sure it's been around before him, and you may have heard it in other places. A ship does not sink because waters are around it. A ship sinks because water gets in it. And so if something happens, let's say you're at work and a big proposal falls through. Shit goes bad. And so you start to tell yourself, I'm a terrible salesperson or a terrible manager or a terrible IT person or accountant, whatever it was. That then leads to weeks and weeks later, you just start fucking up every project you touch. Now, did you lose your A game at work because of that project that fell apart? No. You lost your A game at work because that project fell apart and you let it get inside you. And so that was a challenge and you let it beat you. Now, just take a second to let that soak in. You don't lose your A game because of what happens outside to you. What happens outside of you to the game. You lose it because of what happens within you and it impacts your game. When can you use A game? We mentioned that. I'm just going through some notes I wanted to make. The game's always on. You never, like I said, it's not a light switch. You don't turn it on or off. It's just always on. Is it ever too late to develop your A game? Absolutely not. It's never too late to just sharpen up who you are as a person. Are you ever too old? Hell no. There's cats I know in their 60s, 70s, and 80s who are always just working on just being better. And it's damn cool to be around them because, as I watch them sharpen up their skills, my skills get sharpened. You can go back and listen to the Old Bull and Young Bull show. That was a lot of fun. Shout out to my boy Deer. Because we always call ourselves the bulls. We don't know which one we are some days, old or young. But I mean, it just goes back to being comfortable enough to learn from other people. So let's look at some of the keys to building your A game up. The keys are doing the work of confronting the challenge that you're in. That's essentially the only key there is. Now we'll break it apart even more, but doing the work, doing the hard work, confronting whatever issue it is in front of you, and doing the work can be broken apart even further. First up, focus on small victories to build towards the big ones. A lot of times we don't do something because we get paralyzed in our head about doing it. And we think about the worst possible situation. Like, this shit's going to fall apart and blow up and I'm going to look like a dumbass. Let's go back to dating. If you're going to go up and ask somebody out to go get coffee, and so it's a person you see maybe, at the gym or, somehow through, you work in the same office building, but God, not the same workplace because let's not talk about doing that. And before you get ready to ask them out, you think about every time somebody has turned you down or how many different ways this could go bad. So what you should do is focus on small victories to build towards this big one. You have asked somebody out before and they've accepted. You have, and maybe you haven't. So let's go even further down. You have talked to somebody. You have verbally communicated with someone to a successful end. How many times have you done that? How many times have you asked somebody out and it went good? Look back on those small victories and put those together to build yourself up inside so you can go in there and do what you got to do and ask this person out. As you focus on these small victories, make sure you don't listen to the negative. Don't listen to the bullshit that's telling you that this is going to go bad. Don't listen to all the reasons why you shouldn't approach this person, why you shouldn't ask them out. Don't listen to that. That is fear. And it's normal to be afraid of stuff because we're afraid of the things we're afraid of losing the things that are important to us. So that's okay, but still do it. And you combat that fear by mentally and emotionally replaying all your small victories. Like, yeah, she might be out of my league. She might turn me down, but I have talked to women before and gone on dates. I have, made dinner for women and the night went great. I have asked women out to go dancing and they went dance with me. It's a perfect example of, excuse me, I love, I love salsa clubs and I love hip hop music, and I've gone to places where, you go dancing and you look across the dance floor and there's a woman and, who's attractive, and you think, I want to go ask her to dance. And the next thing you think very normally and naturally is what if she says no? But then I have to sit there and think, well, shit, Jack, how many women have you danced with? I can't remember how many. It's been a lot of them. How many of those did you walk up and say, hey, do you want to dance? Almost 99%. I have had women ask me to dance, and that's always nice. Anyway, so I just, boom, go over there and just do it. And then, another way to combat the negative thoughts, which are like, oh, she's going to turn you down, she's going to laugh at you, she's going to say no, is this very, very simple but yet amazing, powerful question. What's the worst that could happen? She says no, big fucking deal. Then you say, okay, thanks, and you walk away. Now, your buddies might be behind you laughing up a yuck fest, and the trick is get some drinks on the way back to them, and they forget it. Alcohol makes people forget that you just did something stupid. I've used that trick a lot too. But, is the chance that she might say no more important than the possibility and the good possibility that she may say yes? So don't listen to negative. Having a step 2. That is very, very important. A lot of guys screw this up. And here's what a step 2 is. So, let's say it's the financial business aspect of it, of challenges that, you face, and you can bring your A game. Let's say it's a workplace and you want to, you hear there's a job opening. And so you go to the supervisor of that department. You say, hey, I hear there's a job opening. I want to apply. Now, you have to take days and nights to work up that courage, and you ask them, boom, I want the job. And they say, yeah, we're hiring for it, but you don't have you weren't prepared. What if they say, all right, put in your resume today? You ain't got a resume ready. You got to have a step 2. If you ask somebody, you ask somebody out and you approach them and say, hi, okay, you took all day, all night to build that up, and they say, hi. Now, what's your step 2? What do you say next? Most people don't plan for the next step because they're so worried about failing. They never worry about, well, what if I succeed? So I have a step 2. Don't overcomplicate things. People overcomplicate the shit out of stuff. And the A game is really, really built on, confidence is just know what you want to do and go out there and do it. Don't look at all the little minutiae in between that's going to drive you up the wall, because literally that'll drive you up the wall. If you want to ask them out, go ask them out. Don't overthink it. Don't change 30 different outfits, or, just go and do it. Be at peace with it and go get it done. Let's go back once again to if this was a dating situation. You're scared to ask them out. You've talked to women before. Don't listen to the negative. Listen, in your head, list all the times you've done this and been successful. What are you going to say after she says hi back? Do you have step 2, step 3, step 4? Now, you're not predicting the future. You're not going to drive yourself crazy with all these, well, we're going to do this and do that. But, you say hi and she says hi and now she's just looking at you. Well, dumbass, what are you going to say next? How about, nice to meet you. I've seen you around here before. I've been kind of dying to ask you out for coffee. Whatever it is, keep it light. Don't talk about politics. Don't talk about religion. Don't try and joke, because when you're nervous, jokes tend to go south quick. Don't put her down. Some guys think, oh, I'll do playful banter. And no, don't do that. Just say, hi, I've seen you around the building. Would you want to get coffee sometime? And just go with it. And just remember, back to don't overcomplicate things, especially when you're going to ask somebody out, especially if you're going to, want to apply for a job or something. You're not going to go in there and make a long ass speech. Well, I think I'm a good candidate for this job because, or I think you should go out with me, or, no, hi still works. Keep it simple. Hi, seen you around. I'd love to get coffee with you. That's nice and simple to the point. Or, hey, I heard about that job opening. I like to apply. Keep it simple. Hi still works. Wrapping up, why should you want A game? Because you are an A game person. If you're listening to this show, something in this show about influencers and people who just blaze a trail, it interests you. And so that means you're an A gamer, but you're probably playing at a B or C ass level, and you're better than that. So you want to raise your game. And it never ends, but that's okay. You always keep sharpening your tools and your skill set. And why is this A game beneficial to you? Well, it's the best you that there is, and it always leads to you getting better. So we will be talking more and more about the A game in the future. Like I said, catch me on Instagram at Jackson Stuart 2 and at gameonwithjack. Also on Twitter at gameonwithjack, and you can see all these posts that are being developed and put in place to talk about the A game. And as always, people, keep it sexy, and we'll catch you later. What if you could be a better player for the cost of one more cup of coffee a month? Get access to a growing library of lit erotica, behind-the-scenes action, and player's guides with tips on drinking, cooking, fitness, dating, sex, and life after dark. Low tier rate while offer lasts. Patreon.com, gameonwithjack.
You on my hips, me on your lips, so sweet. Both understanding when we're a team, nothing can get to me. I'm yours for the